Here I am with my iguana, and I am about to head into a completely new program, so let me knock this down. And let me talk a little bit about Substance. So, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, this exciting new program called the Substance Painter came on the market. It was made by a small company called Algorithmic, and what it did was very exciting. You just imported your 3D model and painted on it. And it was great and it worked really well. And Substance as a company added a few more things like this Substance Designer, which does a truly amazing job of making tileable textures and making them look extremely organic and is just absolutely gorgeous. And as these two things became industry standard, Algorithmic started trying to expand and then was purchased by Adobe. Oh boy. And then Adobe did their thing and said, well, it's not going to be part of the suite. We're going to sell all of our software and then we're going to sell the algorithmic software separately. So they did, and then just this year they are finally including Substance licenses with your regular Adobe Suite license. So at this point, everyone should have access to Substance. I'm only going to be using Substance Painter, and I will also admit that because Substance has been through this wild, crazy process, I have very little time in on it. So, just so you know, when Substance opens, it is going to offer you its tutorial website. Go ahead, look through these tutorials. You'll see all of these really beautiful paintings that other people have done. Look at that tree bark, that's crazy. And they will give you the ability to walk through this very slowly and in a lot more detail than I will today. You'll probably see me futzing with things and saying, that worked before, I wonder why it didn't work this time. So just remember that there are plenty of tutorials available for you that will be much better than mine. But I do think that this is a really valuable tool and that everyone should learn it. So I'm going to go ahead and move into Substance Painter, which I pre-opened right here. And with Substance Painter, there are a couple of really exciting things and a couple of really, let's say, silly things. First, we start with these columns. So here's my toolbar where my tools live. This is an asset library, and I actually usually, work with this closed. So I'm going to go ahead and close it now because that gives me more screen space to look at the model I'm going to import, which will be here, and the UV map, which will be here. This area over here contains my layers and the properties for the brush I'm going to be painting with. So, hypothetically speaking, this is a really beautifully simple setup, hypothetically speaking. All I need to do is get my model imported, so I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to New. Not Import, but New. When you go to New, what you'll be able to do is select a template from this long list of templates, and you'll find that Arnold is not on that list, and that's because Arnold does a basic PBR metallic roughness render, so they didn't make a new set for it. If you know that eventually you're going into a game engine, this Unreal 4 engine starter asset will work just fine. In fact, I think I'll click on that now. Underneath that, I've got File and Select, and you're just going to navigate around until you find your iguana. There's mine, there's my FBX. So I will open that. And next, under Project Settings, I can change the document resolution. It's set to 2048, which is a 2K file, and that's pretty good for most of the things that we'll be doing at a student level. If you know that you're working on an older, slower computer, you want to change this to 1024. Or if you know that you're working on something that is a very small part of your model, you can turn that down even further. But I'm going to leave this at 2048 for now. Everything else should be fine this way. So I'm just going to leave everything just like this and say, okay. And in just a minute, that will pull in this little iguana model. And over here, there is my little iguana UV map. So with this, just so that you see, I am in my brush right now. I'm using the same Maya commands to move around the scene. So I'm holding down Alt or Option, left, middle, right. And then over in this window, it's Alt or Option, middle, and right. Over here in my layers and all my other stuff, this is where the list of models in my scene is. So here's the body, here are the eyes. So now I would be painting on the eyes. Now I'll be painting on the body. Underneath that, I've got layers, and then under the layers, I've got my painting properties. The painting properties allow me to control the brush, so here's the brush size. This is an Adobe product, so you can also control the brush size with your bracket keys. Open bracket is smaller, close bracket is bigger. There is flow, and then there is stroke opacity. So if you want your stroke to be transparent, you move that down. There's also spacing, and as you turn up the spacing, you can make individual dots or put enough dots together to make them flow into a line. You can change your angle, you can have it follow a path, you can give it jitter so it's not always the same size, flow jitter so it doesn't come out evenly, angle jitter. I don't like angle jitter, but that's fine. Position jitter. You get all kinds of different things happening. So that's brush. That corresponds to this icon up here on the bar. The next one is alpha, and I can either scroll down to alpha, there's alpha, or I can click through the icons here. So the alpha sets the shape of the brush, and you'll see that there are any number of delightful alphas in here, tons and tons of them. In addition, you have some attributes that you can adjust. You have hardness, and then there's this advanced blending that will let you blend in stamps and stencils. The next section that I have is stencil, which I assumed was part of alpha, but no, you can make actual stencils here, so if you wanted to have very precise stickers on a thing, you could do it that way. And the last section is material. So in material, I can paint color, height, roughness, metalness, or normal, and normal is like a bump map. So as I go through my painting, what I'm going to be working with is the ones that we're going to export. I'm going to do color, I'm going to do roughness, and I'm going to do normal. The iguana doesn't really need metalness, and a height map would be great if I were exporting into a game, but we're not going to be doing any kind of displacement, so I'm going to ignore height and metal for this model. I'm just going to be doing color, rough, and normal. So that is how the interface works. The details are over here. You paint here and here, and you've got some basic tools over here. File menu new allowed me to pull this iguana into the scene, and now I can start painting on it. Although I think I'm going to pause this video here, and I will come back and start painting in the next video.